everyone, welcome back to Pastor on the Prairie. My name is James. I'm here with my son Brendan. Say hi, Brendan.
Hi.
And we have a really cool video in store for you today. So we're out here in my backwoods, and the beautiful thing is it's nice and warm today. It finally warmed up so we can get out and do this. Today we are going to be showing you how to make a rocket stove. This is a quick and easy way to throw together something so you can cook on the fly when you're out in the field, whether you're camping, if you're stranded, maybe your car's broken down and you need to heat up some water, melt some snow, or maybe you just don't like packing a camp stove in and out when you go places. This is going to show you how to use everyday materials that's at your disposal, easy to find, easy to source, easy to break down, and you don't need more than a few simple hand tools. You could even do it with your bare hands if you like. So thanks for coming. Check this out. It's going to be great. All right, folks. Well, as I already said, we're here in my backwoods and we're going to be making a camp stove. Before we do that, I want to thank the sponsor for today's video, Grey Ridge Coffee. These guys are a local roastery based out of Minnedosa, Manitoba. They make some of the best coffee I have ever had in my life. So basically what they do is they import all of their beans from all over the world. You can get single source, you can get blends like this here. They roast them all on site in small batches, and they are all over the southern Manitoba region. You can see their pop-up stands all over the place. I believe they have a stand in the Brandon shopping center now as well. There's going to be a link in the description down below if you want to order some of your very own Grey Ridge coffee. It's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Grey Ridge, for providing the coffee for today's video. And that's exactly what we're going to do with our rocket stove. We are going to make coffee the old-fashioned way, with no kettles, with no French presses, nothing. We're going to make what's called Cowboy Coffee. So stay tuned, join us, and we're going to put this together. So Brendan, if you want to come on over here, just look at this here. This is basically all you need to do a very simple rocket stove. Now, this would be great if you were doing something just temporarily in your backyard. If you didn't have access to some old bricks like I do, you could use flat stones that fit nicely together, or simply use a large log, cut that log into quarters, shave off the points of those quarters to create a circular hollow in the middle, bind all four of those boards together, and it'll do the exact same thing. So we are going to show you now how to put this stove together. What you're going to want to do if you're in a snowy area like me, first thing you're going to need to do is clear as much snow away as possible, find a nice level ground. We're going to start with 4 sticks that we've pre-cut, and this is green wood. That's very important that it's green living wood so that this will not burn very quickly. What you want to do is you want to start by let me get some of that out of the way. You want to start by setting these 4 sticks down. This is what you're going to build your fire on. This is what your fire is going to be built on, and you want that up off the ground so the snow doesn't melt and put out your embers. You're going to start, if you're doing it with bricks like I am, you're going to start with a small little half brick. You're going to put that, sorry, some of my firewood got in the way here. Let me get this out of the way. There we go. You're going to put that in the top corner, and you are just going to build in a circle from there. Get those nice and tight like that. You want a little bit of space between the sticks. It will let some airflow through. Airflow is very important for a rocket stove. If you can't get proper airflow through your rocket stove, you are in for some trouble because your fire will keep going out. It won't work the way that it's supposed to, and you won't actually be able. Okay, so that should be pretty much good. Now, what you want to make sure that you do is right here at the bottom, there's a hole, and you want to make sure that hole is nice and clear, that there's plenty of space to get air in there. Next comes the fun part. But before I show you loading this, there's another product that I want to suggest that everybody keeps in their emergency pouch, keeps in their go bags. It's these Zip fire starters. Here, we'll let the GoPro get a look. These are called Zip fire starters. Basically, you take this entire packet, you throw it in the bottom of your fire. This lights, and this will continue to burn for a long period of time, which will let sticks and small tinder catch, which is very helpful if you you're kind of like me right now where you're dealing with damp snow. So we've already pre-cut a bunch of tinder. So let me show you how this works. So we start with a match. You light the whole package just like that. And then you put that in the bottom. From there we start feeding in small sticks, a little bit at a time. Because this wood is damp, it might take a little bit to get it going. You'll know that it's going well because a lot of the smoke will stop. All right, Brendan, why don't you show us how to fill some of this. So while Brendan's doing that, now you can see the smoke that's coming out of there is a little on the black side, and that's because it's mostly the fire starter that's going right now. When the fire starter goes out, the smoke will turn from black to white, and all of the oxygen is being pulled in from right down here. And we are just going to let this go. You're going to keep feeding it. You're going to keep feeding it, keep feeding it. Once you get a nice bed of coals on there, once you get some larger chunks of wood burning, you can go ahead and put your pot on. So we will let this get started, and we'll be right back with you once we have some water on the boil. Okay, so as you can see, the fire is going nicely. It really did not take very long to get it going to this point. From here, what you want to do is you just want to focus on building up your bed of coals. You want to get a good hot base to boil your water. And now, as you can see, sorry, I know I'm kind of in the way, but as you can see here, these rocket stoves, it just takes very small tinder to run. So you don't need an axe. You don't need to go and chop down a ton of big kindling and process a ton of wood. You can use smaller stuff. This is just local aspen that we have growing here. And to do that, I've used my Grand Forest Brooks Wilderness hatchet. It only weighs about 1¼ pounds overall. Excellent tool, very sturdy. It's got a hand-forged axe head. These are hand-forged in Sweden. You can see the initials of the smith who made this one. And the beautiful thing is these axe heads are they're guaranteed for 20 years. So if you take care of it, it'll take care of you, and if anything goes wrong, they stand behind their product. There'll be a link down in the description if you want to shop for your very own Grand Forest Brooks. These are the best axes on the market. I absolutely love them. If you didn't have an axe, you could easily do this with a machete. This is the CRKT Chanson Health, and it's a very lightweight polymer grip. It's a very good machete for simple chopping tasks. So that's basically all you need, is a few simple tools that most people would have if they're planning to go into the backwoods. If you live in a snowy area like we do, it's always a good idea to keep an axe in your vehicle if you needed to break down some firewood, if you needed to get something like this going. But you can see that it's doing its job wonderfully. So we are just going to feed it up just a little bit more. I want this going nice and hot. It is going to be hard to feed it once you get the pot on. So you need to make sure that before you start your cooking, that you have plenty of coals in there, that you have it nice and hot, and that it's doing exactly what you need it to do before throwing food over there. And I can tell you that it is really hot coming over coming out of this little chimney here. Now, if you didn't have a pot like this, if you had something else that you wanted to cook, you could throw a couple of green sticks across here. You could put a tin, if you had like a tin of soup or something on there. You could do all sorts of things. Now, unlike a normal fire, you can't blow from the top of this thing. If you needed to blow on your fire, right in the bottom. just like that. Now, like I said, this wood is a little bit damp, so it's not gonna be the best to get lit, but even when wood is damp, you can still make a decent fire. You just want to find stuff that hasn't been sitting in snow all night. You want to find something that's kind of maybe standing deadfall, a little bit upright, and is good to go. So that's nice and hot there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pot, I'm going to fill it with some water, and we're going to get this on the boil, and I'm going to show everybody how to make a good cup of Cowboy coffee. And we're just going to let that go until it's boiled. Okay, so we are back. This only took a few minutes to get boiling. It is a little bit smokier just because we are using relatively damp wood. There's, you know, looking around here, there's really no getting away from it. So it is a bit smokier than normal. All you want to do is you want to take your grounds. So I've taken this beautiful Gray Ridge coffee, the Ridge Blend medium roast. I put it into my grinder. I've done a very coarse grind on it, the same way that you'd put it into maybe a French press. And you're just going to dump that all right into the water, just like that. And now you're going to let it boil for maybe 4 or 5 minutes, kind of like you're making tea. And you're just going to want to steep that down. You're getting really nice froth on it. Now, for anybody who has had Cowboy coffee before and you got all those grounds in it, that is because you forgot the most important step. Sorry, this is really smoky here. You forgot the most important step. After the coffee gets itself up to temperature, you don't want to allow it to boil too hard. You will burn the beans. So all you want to do is essentially steep this. And if you ever had Cowboy coffee in the past and it was full of coffee grounds and it was just not pleasant, it's because you forgot the most important step, and that is cold water. That's right, you heard it right, cold water. So I can tell that this coffee smells beautiful. It looks great. It's got a really nice color. It's got a really nice crema building on it. Crema is actually all of this, all this beautiful caramel colored foam. That is called the crema of the coffee. You want to let this go until you've infused the coffee well with the beans. You can see that rocket stove is just going nice. Once the coffee is fully made, you just want to take it off the heat, and you want to add just a little bit of cold water just around the outside. And what that cold water is going to do is it's going to cause a cascade effect. So all the grounds will sink to the bottom, and then you can simply dip your cup in, and you can take your coffee and have yourself a drink. So we're just going to let this go for just a few minutes, and then we'll come back when the coffee's done. Folks, I cannot tell you how absolutely beautiful this smells right now. The Gray Ridge coffee is easily the best that I've ever had. Now, this is somebody who has had authentic Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee at $75 a pound. I'm a self-professed coffee snob, for anybody who knows me. I absolutely love my coffee, and I'll tell you that nothing smells better than this right now. It's got a nice earthiness to it, a little bit of a fruity hit as well. It doesn't smell bitter. It smells very sweet, very fragrant. It brings back some awesome memories, you know, working at the school board, getting up early and having a cup of coffee on my way to work. And I'll tell you that this will absolutely beat the shorts off of Tim Hortons and McDonald's coffee any day of the week. And I know it doesn't look like much now, but you just wait. You just wait. This is gonna be great. So I'm gonna turn this off real quick. I'm gonna use a couple of these bricks. I'm gonna set up a little spot here where I can take this coffee off fully off the heat, and then we will we'll be right. Okay, so we've taken the coffee off of the we've taken it off of the heat, and all I'm gonna do, this is just nice chilled cold water. All I'm going to do is just gently add a little bit of cold water to it, and all those coffee grounds are going to start sinking to the bottom. This works better if you have a kettle, but you know, we do what we can. There, now we're just going to give that a minute to settle down. Oh, over here, Brent. So with coffee, a lot of people think that you need to have you need to have all this fancy material, that you have to have the gooseneck kettles and the fancy French presses and all of that sort of thing. But I can tell you firsthand, you can have a world-class cup of coffee anywhere in the world you are, no matter where you find yourself. This is an excellent idea. You know, if you're homesteading, you're out, you're doing some work, you're doing some stuff, you don't have to carry a whole bunch of stuff with you. Just bring a little pouch of ground coffee and even a metal cup that you can put over a flame, and you can build one of these rocket stoves no matter where you are. So the nice thing about the rocket stove is it is easy to set up. This whole thing took me about 2 minutes to set up, and you can use tons of different materials. This one happens to be made from some old bricks that we had here in the homestead. This would be a more permanent one, and I'll probably leave this one here so I can use it again in the future. But you can easily make this from river rocks, just make stones. You can use this from a large log if you can chop it into fourths. The key is you want to have it built of an interlocking structure with a hole at the bottom for airflow and a chimney at the top for the heat. That's all you really need. From there, you're going to keep shoving your your kindling just into the top of the wood stove here. And as you feed it, just like that, as you feed it, air is going to enter through this bottom part right here, and it's going to create a chimney effect. So the air is going to be concentrated and it's going to swirl upward. And as the fire itself gets hotter, it's going to create its own kind of vortex where it's actually going to start sucking air from the bottom here, and it's only going to get hotter and hotter and hotter. This is a fantastic way to cook. Even if one of the reasons I learned about this, one year I went camping and I took my wood stove. With me, and I was halfway through my trip and I ran out of fuel, and I had no way to cook. So I went into the woods. I got myself a nice big log. I used my axe. I split it into quarters. You can bind it together with some other logs holding them in place. Some wire if you have it. A ratchet strap would work as well if you're keeping an eye on it. These can absolutely save your life. It's fun to do with the kids. When you have a nice warm day like today, Brendan's out here helping me do this. We're out here enjoying nature. This little bush in front of us here, this is rose hips. You could take these, you can dry them and make rose hip tea, which is a natural painkiller, pain reliever. Just all sorts of wonderful things that you can do out here in the woods. And this is by far one of my absolute favorite projects that we've done so far. A huge thank you to Grey Ridge Coffee from Minnedosa, Manitoba, for supplying today's coffee. Although I will say that they are not an official sponsor of our channel, they were kind enough to partner with us on this one. I believe in their business. I believe in their products. 100% Canadian owned and operated. You can go to their website. You can see what they're all about. You can order your own coffee. And let me tell you, you can go to the grocery store and you could pay $18, $19, $20 a pound for coffee that you don't really know where it's from. It might say made in Canada, it might not. It might say ethical and rainforest, alliance and all this other great stuff. But at the end of the day, you can pick up a pack of Grey Ridge coffee. Often they have sales where you can get 2 pounds for $10 a pound. It's easily the best coffee that I've ever had. As I said, you're supporting local small business, you're supporting Canadian companies. Check out the link in the description below. Shop Grey Ridge Coffee. They have tons of gift packs. They have variety packs available. They have specialty flavors. And I believe if you find one of their pop-up shops, as they're around the towns here in southern Manitoba, they don't just have coffee. They have cold brew as well. They have a nitro cold brew, which is out of this world. Their hot chocolate is fantastic. They're great people to work with, excellent people to support. So yeah, definitely check out that link in the description below. Get yourself some Grey Ridge coffee and have yourself a happy morning. Well, that does it for us on the homestead today. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to go and enjoy this beautiful coffee that I've just made. Brendan's going to have a hot chocolate because he's a little bit too young for coffee yet, even though he was saying that this smelled really good. So we'll get some coffee in him soon enough. But God bless y'all. Thanks for joining us on the farm. We'll see you on the next one.